What's up guys, I'm Elevate, and in this video I want to show you guys 6 tools that you need to know in Logic Pro and you may not know about. Okay, so I basically just took you guys into my DAW, into a project. Tool number 1 that you may not know about is that Logic has a notepad. So you see, I even added a note here, but if you click this option right here, this is a notepad. You can literally write your whole song here, all your ideas, blah, 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 here in this notepad directly in the song. And when you're done, just copy and paste it and put it in somewhere else. But this notepad is a game changer. I found out about this notepad years after being in Logic. And yeah, you can color coordinate things in the notepad too. So that's super sick. Next, I've talked about this in another video, but you can create MIDI out of any loop. So let's say I have a loop or I have a one shot that I like, or, you know, a vocal that I found that I want to make vocal chops out of.
Rocks, what's up, rocks, what's up, rocks, what's up. I've been all alone.
So let's say I want to go with that one. So I'm going to download it. Now I'm going to drag the loop into this section right here and hold it until I see Quick Sampler, and I'll let go on that. Right? Now, if I click the slice option, I'm going to open up my virtual keyboard because I don't have my keyboard plugged in right now. I can now create a vocal chop out of that. And these little pieces, I can move them. I can delete some of them if I want to by double clicking it and drag them. And now I can really customize it. And I can do that with anything. So even if you bring in a piano that has like chords and it's going like one chord, another chord, you can take that in and you can now create different variations of that chord or that scale or that loop, and you can make it into your own. So that's how you can create and make any sound into MIDI in Logic Pro. This next tool is so cool, and I actually found it by accident. So that is the skip. I'm gonna mute the vocals just because I don't know if that artist wants me to show it. But let's say I wanted to loop this section, right? We all know loop, you just drag, you click and drag, and your loop is on. Now let's say I wanted to play it from the beginning, but I wanted to skip this section and go straight to the next part. I have to enable my loop just how I did there. Either it's there already and I clicked it on, or I dragged it and I hold down Command and I click it. Now that's gonna skip the section. And how you turn it off to go back to a loop, a regular loop, you just hold Command and you click it. But I thought that that was really cool because if like you're trying to figure out your sections and you're not sure if you want this to be this length or that length or whatever, you can kind of like test it out. So I thought that that was cool. Next tool that I want to show you is called Polyphonic. I love this tool so much. I can basically move anything I want over, you know, with reason, because if you do too much, it can sound weird. So basically you're going to click this option right here and it's going to open up these options. So let's say, yeah, let's just say we wanted to like move around this percussion, and it works with audio tracks. So if you do have something you played and you want to like move things around, you just have to turn it into an audio track before you can do this. So now I clicked this. It brought this option. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger for me. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to click Flex Time Polyphonic. I love this. This is great when you bring vocals in or you bring some type of audio in that's slightly off and you want to fix the timing. Rather than like chopping everything up, you can go in here and you see these ticks. Let's say it was off. I mean, it is slightly. because I can see by these ticks, I just go like this and I bring it on. Oops, I bring it on like that on the time. So now everything is exactly where I wanted. If I wanted it to drag, I would do it like that. Or if I wanted to like split these, then I can add one by clicking it and move it, or I can just delete it. And that's a great way to, let's say you brought in like a guitar loop or like a vocal loop, and again, it's slightly off. It's a great way to put it back on and like morph it to whatever you're trying to create. Next tip I want to share with you guys is, I believe, very, very important, and I use it and need to add it and make sure it's on every time I'm creating, is the snap to absolute value. And that's basically in this section where you see snap. Most of the time it's snap to regions to relative value. That's kind of like the default, but I always click absolute value, because sometimes when I'm, let's say, like ending one of these or like this, and I want it to end on like this line, if I have it to relative, it's going to go relatively close to the line. It's not going to go exact. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. So I want things to be exact, and if I don't want things to be exact, then I can put it to relative value. But that's just kind of what I do, and it helps me too when I'm creating sections and I'm arranging a track, because I want things to, let's say, be divided by 8 bars. So here, I can tell just by looking at it, because I've been in this DAW for so long, that the intro's 4 bars, the verse is 4, and the pre is 4, or it can be one verse that's 8. So I can see that it's 4, 8, 8, 4, and then a bridge, 8, and then a bridge for 4, and then 8, and then an outro for 4, just by looking at it. And that's because I have everything on these points. So I just know up to here, from 1 to here, that's 4 bars. I know from here to here, that's 8 bars. So I think that having that, making it clear, is important. And because when you're having it, you know, on your BPM, you want everything to be on time, so that it makes things easy for you to bring in. And this actually brings me to another tool that you can use in Logic that wasn't on the list for me to talk about today. But when you have things at the right time and it's all snapping to those key points in your DAW, let's say you bring in, okay, what's the BPM here? BPM's 81. So let's say I found some guitar sample that's like a solo and I want to bring it in, but it's at 90, right? So I would have to now stretch that audio to make it a little bit longer for it to be in time with what I have. And you can do that in Logic, and it's great. So I'm going to just use, let me find something that's there. Okay, let's go with that. So I download that. I'm going to start it from the beginning, drag it in right here. And as we can see here, we know that the BPM is 80. So it's like this. Now we can see that this loop is shorter because it's faster. Now I can stretch this and make it in time with the 81 by doing this. I hold down Option or Alt, depending on your keyboard. And you see that thing where it just like goes towards that line, it changes. I hold and I drag it to the 5 there, let go, and now it's in time with the BPM of this song. And that is so sick, because you can do that with everything. Not everything will sound good, but most things, especially if it's close in BPM, it's great. So now, before it was like this. But if I do the little trick I taught you, now it's on time. And that's a cool little trick. It wasn't on my list to share, but I thought about it and I wanted to tell you guys. Okay, the last tool I want to share with you guys is in your preferences. So if you go to preferences and you click My Info, here, I think this is really important because it allows people, it basically embeds your information in the track. Like if you were to click get info on whatever track you exported, it'll embed that. So I always add my name and my email, and some people add their PRO info. So your information could never get lost. And I don't know if other DAWs have this, but I think this is great. And I've talked to many different people in the industry that have said like there's been times where they lost certain information from the song, and it was for like a sync placement for TV and film. And one of the reasons why they were able to still use that beat, because they would have found a different song to use for the whatever they were doing it for. One of the reasons why they were still able to use it was because the person had their information embedded into the song. And it's just genius. It's just another way of security on your beat or song or whatever. So I always have my name and my email address. I could add my PRO info, but that's just how I like it for right now. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you guys soon.